study, I would have been so clueless on the quiz. But some of them I'm still really confused by, like when you add the wa and when you like.
Yeah.
Confusing.
Yeah. Let me just do a quick intro. Hey everybody, this is Evan Rogers. One of my students who I do Kayla, as in the online live lessons that you can watch on YouTube. She has questions because in her college BGSU class they're doing they're converting all the Moss verbs into the plain form and then the plain negative. And apparently you had 4 days, 3 days, 2 days to learn this all, and then you had a test over it, and then you're gonna have another test like next week, right?
Well, it was just a quiz.
Well,
so not like
either way, it's 2 days to learn a huge grammar point.
Yeah, I think and then we have a big test like next week or the week after.
And this really is a monstrous, like a gigantic, a huge grammar point, and B, it's a very important one. And honestly, they should spend at least 2 weeks before they're gonna start, hitting you around with this. All right, I need to share my screen.
And there's so many new verbs too, and I'm like, let me learn the verbs first.
Right. I bet you one of the verbs you've learned is die. Have you learned to die yet? Okay. Every Japanese student, every learner of Japanese always ends up learning the word die in like the first semester. Because there's only one verb that ends in the nu sound, the ni nu sound, and that's to die. There's technically two verbs, but they both mean die.
I think it is on the verb list.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I missed 1 day of class, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we went over 40 new verbs in conjugation.
Okay, so there's basically two things that you need to actually know to properly organize all this stuff, okay? You need to know the Moss form. Oh, you need to know two of these three. Oh, sorry. Sorry. What happened to my screen? What's going on here? Sorry, I need to make sure that this is all appearing on OBS. Sorry. Hang on. I got to adjust things. Sorry, I know that it's a little bit of a waste of time, but this is just kind of annoying that I got to fix all this. All right. Come on. Okay, I guess I'll just have to do it like this. Okay. Let's go like this. Hopefully that'll be good enough. Let's see how this is working. So as everyone on YouTube can tell, I did no planning for this because we were expecting to not even have a class today because you're still sick. But you were like, And so I figured let's just jump into it. Because that's just the kind of teacher I am. A self-righteous a-hole.
Yes. The cheapest. The most affordable.
Exactly. Just tell everyone to watch this video in your class, and maybe I'll get a third student. All right, you need to know the Moss form. You need to know the plain/dictionary. This form has numerous names. Dictionary form. We'll use dict. And then it also has the casual form. And then you also need... and then there's also the verb group. Okay. You need... In order to properly conjugate a verb that you don't know how to conjugate, you need to know at least two of these three, okay? So, I had the Yokuso book up, and we'll just go through a few of the where'd it go?
Sorry I don't respond to everything. I have, like, random coffee.
No, you're totally fine. No, this is just me talking to myself, and I'll get your input when I need it. For some reason, my computer's going really slow, but I saw the verb kakimas. I'm sure you guys have learned that one. Kakimas. I'll add the Hiragana on there for everybody who's not familiar with it. And then the book teaches you that it's kaku. Not that kaku. That kaku. There we go. And that verb group is going to be number 1. Okay, so my question is, do you know why that's it's also called a godon, a 5-step or a godon verb. Okay, so... But generally, a lot of the books just call it a group 1. Is that what... I think that's what Yokuso calls it.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know why it's a group 1?
Isn't it like because it's one step up or something?
I've no... right, on the Katakana chart, the ku and the ki. Exactly. And if you have the Hiragana chart, and a lot of people, because we're Americans, we have it a, I, U, E, O in columns. But if you have the a, I, U, E, O as rows, indeed, from the ku you jump up to the ki. Exactly. Yeah. But here's another trick, okay? Another trick. Tricks. If the verb ends in anything other than ru/re, it's group 1. Okay? So you see, this isn't a ru and this isn't a re. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So 100% of the time, it's a group 1 verb. Except we sometimes have a weird, except sort of. And then nobody really calls these the special polite verbs. Special polite verbs. We'll talk about those on their own, okay? Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Except for the special polite verbs, and also for the group 3, and the group, and except for group 3. And then people are going to be like, well, that's not a very good rule. There's so many exceptions. Well, that's 7 verbs. That's a total of 7 verbs, and you can just memorize 7 verbs. For anybody curious, the group 3 verbs are kimas/kuru, and shimas/suru. Okay? Everyone should know that, hopefully, when they start doing this. I'm sure you know that. You're probably coughing, having a coughing fit, so you can't respond.
No, I mean, I just learned those were group 3, yes.
Yeah, you just memorize these 2. Shimas/suru, kimas/kuru. You memorize them, you're done. Okay? That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. Okay. So let's go with another verb. Ikimasu. Iku. Okay? With that alone, actually, for this one, you see ikimasu, there's the key right there. So, instantaneously, if you just drop the mas and you look at what's above it, if you drop the mas, you just delete this, and you see that key there, you know immediately it's a group 1. So it's a group 1. And because it's a group 1, that means the plain form is iku. I'll stop using kanji because it's annoying to have to put in those hiraganas.
Yeah, and to be honest, if anybody from my class watches it, we don't know the kanji for a lot of these yet. So.
That's okay. Another verb you might see is like yomimasu. I thought I saw that on the list. Okay, yomimasu. Now, oh my gosh, what's the plain form? Oh my gosh, what verb group? Look, mas. Right before the mas, there's a mi. It's not a ru. It's not a ru or it's not a re. So it's a group 1. Boom, you're done. How about we do? Oh, so you drop. I like to say because everyone starts learning the verbs from the mas form, right? So I like to joke around and say you drop it like it's hot because that's just that rap song from Snoop Doggy Dogg. Is that his name? You drop it like it's hot. So you drop from the me to the moo, to the me to the moo, to the wizard. What? Ooh, yeah, dog. So I'm so cool. I know how to make dumb raps. All right. Another one, for example, everyone always learns this verb, shinimasu, because it's the only verb that has a ni before the mas, and that's important. You have to have this last character before the mas is important. Okay. So, Kayla, is that a re?
No.
Exactly. So it's a group 1. Exactly. So you drop it like it's hot. So you go from she ni mas to she nu. You're done. Group 1. All right. Let's see. Let's say you're gonna call your friend. Yobimasu. Evan, I haven't learned this verb. Well, luckily for you, you can see it doesn't end in a rimas, right? So it must be a group.
Oh, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
1.
It has to be a group 1. And so if it's a group 1, you drop it like it's hot. What do you end up with?
Boo.
Exactly. Yobu. Exactly. What's another one? You want to go swimming. Oh, yogimasu. All right. Does that end in a re?
No.
So it must be a
Goo.
Oh yeah, it must be. Must be a goo.
It's 1. It's group 1.
Exactly. So oyogimasu, oyogu, and you're done. It's group 1. Exactly. Okay. However, we're gonna get into a situation where you're gonna see a verb like kirimasu. And you're going to be like, ooh, there's a re there. So that means that this is either going to be kiriru or it's going to be kiru. Or maybe it's a crazy one. It's it's kuru, which is what this one is, right? You see this ki-mas here, and you think, oh, maybe it's a kuru. It's never, unless it's ki-mas and it's this kanji for to come to a location, it's never kuru. Kuru is never the answer. Okay, so the question is it kiriru or is it kiru? Okay, and people will be asking, why would it ever be kiriru? We'll find out later. Okay, so we got kiru or kiriru. Well, this one is a group 2 verb, which there's no way of knowing that.
There's no way of knowing it.
There's no way of knowing that unless you know the plain form, which is kiru.
Okay.
So kirimas turns into kiru, right? You want to honestly, here's a hint. Here's a 9 times out of 10. 9. I might change this, but 9 times out of 10, if it ends in a re sound, it's probably a group. And this should actually be a group 1. Sorry, I'm confusing myself. A group 1. If it ends in a re before the mas, it's probably a group 1. Okay? Because you see how it's ki re and then turned into ki ru. We dropped it like it was hot, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually, that's probably a group 1, and it is here. Indeed. Okay.
So like when you see, so example, she gave us plain form verse first.
Okay,
so
yeah. Which one?
How would you know how that?
Sorry, this is which one?
If it's kiru plain form, how would you know that it's kirimas? Or you just gotta know.
So guess what? There's actually 2 kirus.
Yeah.
Which is what I was gonna do next. This one is to put on clothing. No, this one's to cut.
Okay.
And then this one is to wear clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So kirimas turned into kiru, and that's a group 1, right? Because we dropped it like it was hot. Now, see with this, we have kiru. Hopefully you can see there's a kiru right there. So we have this ru. Ooh, that ru. Did we drop it like it was hot? Well, there's no re here. This ru came out of nowhere. That's what makes it a group 2.
Okay. So how do you know if you're conjugating kiru, though?
Well, exactly. If the ru comes out of nowhere.
So you're saying if it gives you
group
kiru
2.
first, you just gotta look at context?
Well, yes, Dakido, hang on. Except G3 and SPV. So just like the above rule, except for G3 and SPV. So the problem is, if they only give you the plain form, you either have to know it, or you need to know what the mas form is. Remember on the Patreon things that I did you find those on my Patreon?
I did, yeah.
So you'll notice that when I gave you when I had that chart, it gave you both the mas and the ru form or the u form, right?
Yeah.
That was because if you have these 2, you can do everything. If you just have these 2, and you memorize kimas, kuru, shimas, turu, and then all the special polite verbs. So if you memorize 7 verbs that break the rules, if you have the mas form and you have the plain form, you can do every single verb in the language correctly.
Okay.
Okay? So unfortunately, if your teacher's just going to give you a random verb, and it's going to be the plain form, it's almost impossible to know.
Yeah, I mean, she gave us plain form first, and we had to move it to mas and then nai, and nai is super confusing.
Right. So if she were to give you kiru,
I don't think she gave us that one.
Yeah, because that would be very mean of her. But if
I can't remember which one she gave us. But
if she gave you a verb in just the plain form and it ends in a ru, you need to ask yourself, do you know any verb that's ki rimas, or if you know any verb that's just kimas? Like, for example, if I give you miru, do you know any verb that's mi mas, or do you know any verb that's mi rimas? So the question becomes, is it mi rimas or is it mi mas?
Okay, so that's when it's important to actually know the verbs, which maybe I would have done better if I would have known more of these verbs better. Because I could have probably been like, I don't think we've learned a verb that sounds like that.
Right. So remember the two rules that we've taught so far are the re turned into a ru. You dropped it like it was hot, right? And then the other one is just the ru comes out of nowhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So either this ru came out of nowhere or it came from a re. So if you know that much, then you can ask yourself, would it be mi rimas? Does that ru turn into a re? Or does this ru come out of nowhere and it's just mi mas? So I'm sure you do know this, but let me just ask, do you know which one it is?
Mi mas.
Yeah, exactly. To watch, look, you sound just like me when I was sick with this.
You gave it to me somehow.
Yes, yeah, through the internet. A series of tubes. So this ru came out of nowhere, which makes it a group 2. All right, let's see if I know any other group 2s that we might know. Just off the top. Okay, so how about taberu? Which I guess I just gave it away what it is. Do you know any verbs that are taberimas, or do you know any verbs that are tabemas? Which one sounds like it's gonna hit you?
Tabemas.
Exactly, tabemas to eat. So that ru came out of nowhere, thus it's a group 2, and it keeps. Yeah, I have to change to a different thing. Let me see if I can think of another group 2 that you don't. Well, actually, you'd have to know it, so that's the problem that I'm running into. I have to think of one. Okay. Here. Akeru. You're gonna be like, ooh, do I know this one? And it's either gonna be akerimas or actually, sorry. How about you tell me the 2 that it could be, which I just gave you on an accident.
Akerimas and akemas.
Exactly. It could be akerimas because the ru might have dropped down from the re, and it could also be akemas. The ru came out of nowhere, right? Came out of nowhere, or it came from a re. Do either of those sound like one you've heard? Akerimas or akemas? I'll give you a hint. Doa o akerimas or doa o akemas?
Akemas.
Yeah, boom. So this one came out of nowhere, thus it's a group. If it comes out of nowhere, it's a... Are you there?
Sorry.
Were you coughing? I'm sorry.
Yeah. If it comes out of nowhere, then it's a group 2.
Exactly. Let's
Your
try.
screen disappeared too.
Can you see it?
No.
Oh, okay. Let me. So sometimes this happens. Let me close this. Let me try it again. Sometimes you have to reshare it a few times. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Skype is notoriously bad.
It's like it disappeared.
Okay. This verb. Do you know shimeru? So just for practice, you should know this because it's one of the verbs that at least we did.
Shimemas.
So, okay, yeah, you do that one right off the top of your head, yeah. So it could be shimemas, which it is, or it could be...
Merimas.
It could be shimerimas, but it isn't. So, ta-da. Okay, that would be a group... So it came out of nowhere, so it's a...
It's 2.
Exactly, group 2. Let's see if you know this one. Aru. What are the 2 verbs it could be?
Arimas.
Arimas or...
Amas.
Which you can probably hear it just not even sounding like a real verb. It's either amas...
It's arimas.
Yeah, exactly. So that makes it came from the re, so it's a
so
group.
That's a 1.
A group 1, exactly.
Okay, that does make a lot of sense.
So if she's gonna give you a plain form verb only that ends in a ru, you need to ask yourself, do I know, did it come from a re or did it come out of nowhere?
That's actually a very helpful tip though, because I could just put both of them next and be like, which one do I know?
Exactly.
That would have been so helpful for this quiz today.
Well, hopefully it'll be helpful for next week. And then how about this one? She gives you this verb, suru. So it's either going to be surimas or sumas, right?
Sorry.
It's okay. Hi, Torontis. How you doing?
He's grabbing my mouth. Is going mouth, nose, eyes, hair, head. I'm like, yep.
Yeah. That's fun. I love kids. So it's either gonna be surimas or sumas, right?
Yeah.
No, because there's the group 3, mother effer.
Yeah, this is the Shima.
Yeah, whenever you see suru, you have to just know shimas.
Those are the ones that, those are the ones that were group 3. I actually knew those ones. So
Okay,
I'm pretty
good,
proud
good,
of
good,
myself
good,
on
good.
the quiz.
So kuru, you should know that. Oh, I just gave you the answer. Kuru is also a group 3, and it's kimas.
Yeah, but how do you then like think of all that, put it into the nai form?
Right. Well, that's the next thing. Right. So first, so what we need to do first is you need to know if it's a group 1, 2, or 3.
Okay, that's why you're saying like you got to decide that first. Okay.
This is step 1. This is step 1. Okay. For anybody curious about special polite verbs, donate on Patreon and you can find them out. But I'll tell you I'll tell you what they are. There's irashaimasu, gozaimasu, you haven't learned these, trust me. Oshaimasu, nasaimasu, and then irashaimasu, gozaimasu, oshaimasu, nasaimasu, and there's one other one that I always forget one of them. And anyway, I have them on the Patreon. You can see them, and then other. It ends in an imas. Okay, it's not imas. It's just something imas. The thing that happens is that even though they all end in imas, they all their plain forms turn into ru. So it's irasha ru, goza ru, osha ru, nasa ru, and then whatever the other one is, something ru. I forget what it is. Just off the top of my head, I can't remember it. So they conjugate ever so slightly differently, or they agglutinate, I suppose, ever so slightly differently, and thus we could, if we wanted to, classify them as special polite verbs. See, these ones wouldn't fit the pattern that I taught you, right? If they give you a verb that ends in ru, you have to ask yourself, does the re come out of nowhere, or does the ru come from a re? These ones don't have re's, and yet they end in a ru, so these ones actually break that pattern. So hopefully your teacher's not giving you these ones either. If she ever gives you gozaru, you punch her in the face for me, okay?
She is not good. She just follows the textbook.
Yeah, well, you never know. The authors of the textbook might have screwed something up. I mean, you never know. Gozaimasu is an early verb because it's arigato gozaimasu. There's also, ohayo gozaimasu, all those gozaimasu. So
I don't think it actually technically taught you what they,
okay.
They directly translate to. They just expression.
Gozaimasu is the fancy way of saying arimasu, actually. So that's interesting. What's the other one? It's gonna burn a hole in my head. Anyway, okay, so let's start up a new thing.
This does make a lot more sense now, and like I'm sure she did a great job explaining it on Monday, but I was not there, and I'm like, I don't understand.
I'm sure she did a great job teaching it. The problem is that it takes a long time to get this anywhere near able to operate. I keep doing the damn wrong thing.
That's why it's so nice to have her and you like multiple
times. Are you
times.
listening, Bowling Green? Oh, by the way, group 2s are also called ichidans, which are one step, right? Ichi means one and step, and dan is a step. These ones are called fukisoku, which is like they break the regulation is literally what it means. And then even in Japan, they don't recognize this as its own special verb group. So I'm not going to tell Japan they're wrong, but I would strongly recommend considering changing that to its own verb group, because this pattern of if you know it ends in a ru, it either is a rimas or a ru.
That's why you kept saying there's 4 groups.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, what? I tell people there's 4 groups, and then they're like, "What are you talking about, you idiot?" And I'm like, "Let me make my case," and then they always tell me that I'm an idiot anyway. Okay, so negatives. Okay, neg. We'll just do neg, because isn't that like a pickup line thing? You're gonna neg someone or something.
I don't think so, but okay.
I don't know. Somebody's gonna comment on this video. Probably not. I have 4 people watching my channel anyway. Okay, so here's the thing. Group 3, memorize. You just have to memorize it. Shimasu suru shinai. Just sorry, you have to memorize it. This shi turns into this shi right here, and then you just add nai. Okay?
Yep.
Sorry, I have kuru here like a bozo. It should be kimas. So the ki turns into, we're going to use a different color. A ki turns into a ku. And then guess which one we're going to use for the negative?
I know it.
What is it?
Ko.
Exactly. That makes no sense whatsoever. It's the dumbest.
I know. I those two I memorized because they're just two to remember.
Exactly.
The other ones actually take some thinking that I was like, there's something I'm missing here. It's not clicking with me.
Yes. Group twos. Easy. Mi, mas, mi, ru. What doesn't change? The stem. Mi, tabe, age, ake, shime, right?
Yeah.
So you just take that part that doesn't change because it's an ichidan, or ki, mas, ki, ru. So ki, nai.
Yep.
Mi.
Okay.
Nai.
See, I remembered that. It's just like
Yeah.
I just had a really hard time like differentiating ones from twos, and then I was like, I don't know what to.
Yep, exactly. So these ones are easy. You just take the part that doesn't change, the stem. This is the language that I'm using, the stem. I think the Yokoso book might actually call it the root, which is not accurate, and because the roots are deeper than the stem. And if you look at it, you see how it's yomimas, and then this one's yomu.
Yes.
So all of these share that first consonant. Kakimas, kaku, ikimas, iku, yom. They all share that first consonant. The roots of the group 1 verbs are actually the first up until that last consonant. So kak, which is a funny word on its own, is actually the root of the verb. Ik is the root of the verb. Yom is the root of the verb. Shin is. This is one of the reasons why learning Romaji is important. If you ever encounter a textbook where they don't teach you, or they only use Romaji, this is their argument. Listen, they can call it a syllable language all they want to. It's not. It requires that consonant to get the conjugations properly, or the agglutinations, whatever. Okay, so now the question is, what the heck do we do with group 1s? Okay?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to make a new page on this. And the answer...
Make a new note sheet.
Okay, oh, are you taking notes?
No, I said I'm helping you make a new note sheet to share.
I've done this so many times.
Oh.
Like, I probably have 40 of these. Whenever I have a student, it's best to go through it chunk by chunk with them instead of just throwing it all at them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is... So hang on, I should move this down a little bit. So, group 1 negatives. Sorry, they suck. Okay. You're going to say to yourself, oh my gosh, there's so many things I have to memorize. There is a little bit to memorize. It's not that much, okay? So, first you decide, is it a group 1 or group 2? If it's or is it a group 3? Group 3 is shinai, konai, just get over it. Group 2s are stem nai, Bill stem nai, the science guy. And that's kind of funny because doesn't STEM mean science, technology, engineering, and math? So yeah. There you go, Bill Nye, the STEM Nye. All right. Group 1 negative. Sorry, they suck. Okay, so you can handle it either way. If you know it's a group 1, you can either look at the plain form ku, mu, nu, bu, gu, ru, right? Or you can look at the ki, mi, ni, bi, gi, ri, okay? You're either going to conjugate it from the plain form oo sound or the e sound. I'm just going to use the ku sound because that makes sense because we're going from plain positive to plain negative. So I'm going to use the oo sounds, okay? Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, so if it ends in an oo, hang on, I gotta get it all straight in my head. If it ends in an oo, it's gonna the past tense is gonna be wanai. Oh my gosh! I almost went through and did the TEF form with you. Oh my god! I almost did the TEF form with you. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that is yet. So
yeah. Excuse me. I was just about to make it 95 times more complicated, and I just realized I was about to teach you. My brain was like, yeah, like I said, everyone on YouTube, I did no planning for this whatsoever. Okay. So if it's a group 1, it's actually pretty easy. Excuse me. I was thinking TEF form for some stupid reason. You're going to learn the TEF form and the past tense form is going to be you're going to hate that part. That you're really going to ask me to do that one. Okay. So it's a group 1. So again, we're going to do the funny word. It's kakimasu, and then it's kaku. Well, you see how it's called a 5-step? It's a go-dan verb.
Yeah.
The reason why it's called a go-dan verb is because when you agglutinate it, there's one agglutination for the ah sound, there's an agglutination for the e sound, there's an agglutination for the u sound, there's an agglutination for the s sound, there's an agglutination for the o sound.
Okay.
So for, the e is the mas form, right? Kakimas. But it's the stem. It gets you the stem. This is the plain form, right? Kaku, iku, yomu, nomu. If you use the S sound, you're generating the potential. I can do this. I can do that. I can swim. Oyogemas. Whatever. Ikemas. I can do it. If you use this, it's the, hey, let's go out and do it form. And if you use the ah sound, it's the negative. This is the negative.
Okay.
So because you haven't learned all of these, you're like, why are they calling it a go-down verb? That's why your book is calling it just a group 1.
That makes sense, because she always uses that term, but I never really understood what it meant.
What did she say? 5-step or go-down?
She said go down.
Okay, yeah.
And then she would say those, but I still never really understood what it meant. And maybe she explained it, I just missed it, but I don't know.
Right. And I'll do 1 or 2 verbs of each and every single one of these, and I'll show you how that works out a little bit. But so the kakimas is gonna be the stem / polite form, right? The u sound kaku is the plain form, the casual. So if we bring that up to the ah sound, we get ka, and then we just add nai.
Okay.
So really quickly, we have so if you, just to emphasize it one more time, kakimas, right?
Mhm.
Oh, so we have kak-i, and then here we have kak-u, and now we have kak-a, which is also a funny word. So this is just a funny verb in general, because it has kak and then it has kaka, and I'm not going to explain why those are funny, because there's children in the room. Okay, this one is ikimas, iku. What's the ah sound?
Ta.
No. The ah sound of ku. Ikimas, iku.
What?
Did you say ka or ta?
I said ka.
Excuse me, I thought I heard a ta. I was like, what the heck is she talking about? Ika, and then you said nai. Then you just add nai.
I mean, my voice is going out.
Yeah, I'm also an old man. Yomimas, yomu. So it's yo.
Mas.
And then we just add nai. Yomamas. No, there's no mamas. No.
Yomanai. That's right. Yomanai. Sorry.
You're fine. That's okay. All right. Shinima. Shinu.
Shinanai.
Exactly. Yobimas. Yobu.
Yobanai.
Yobanai. Oh,
It's so fun to try to talk Japanese with your voice.
Oh, yogimas. Yogu.
Yoga.
Yoganai. Kirimas. Kiru.
Kiranai.
Exactly. Kiranai.
Okay.
And then
I know I messed up those stupid words in the flipping quiz.
Exactly. And then we have aru, arimas, so we get
Aranai.
That would be correct, except this one's a big old FU to the pattern. It's just nai.
Oh, because it's arimas. I think I remember reading that in the textbook. Like, that one's just nai.
Definitely did. And also, I mention this all the time. So you know how we're doing E adjectives? We're saying oishiku nai. And then we're saying, like, ja nai des. And stuff like that.
Yeah.
All of those nais are arimas.
Gotcha. So what about the words where you have to add the wa?
Okay. Yeah, right. Okay. So, let's add.
Quite screwed up, but I know that some of them need wa added to them.
Yeah.
And they're class 1, right? They're just like weird.
You're gonna think they're weird, but there's a distinct pattern. Okay. So how about we do this? I'm gonna write down the verbs. Okay, that I can think of. Kaimas. What does that mean?
Shopping.
Yeah, well, to buy something. Then we have aimas, which could either be to love or to meet somebody, and what's another verb that might end in that?
Isn't it? I don't know. Isn't it like the E and the
Hmm?
Like, aren't they the ones that end in like the E and the
I don't know where you're getting the F from.
I thought that's what the thing that my teacher gave me was. I could be wrong.
I'm trying to think of a verb that ends in the EMOS sound. Okay, we'll do that one, okay? So you see how all of these end in EMOS?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so ka-EMOS, is it a group 1 or a group 2? You should know right away.
What?
Wait, should you know right away? Yeah, does this end? Oh, no. Excuse me. So I'm lying to you. If the plain form is kau,
Mm-hmm.
then you should know that this is 100% a group 1 verb. Because this is not, anytime this is not a ru, it's a group 1. Au is going to be a group 1. Anytime that doesn't end in a ru, it's a group 1.
Okay.
And I should take off this E. Actually, I should take off that E. So if the plain form verb. If the plain form verbs ends in anything other than ru, it's a group 1. Okay? So see how these aren't rus?
Yeah.
Okay. So, ka-imas, ka-u. Now let's raise it to the right sound, right? So we have kak-imas, kak-u, kak-a, ikana, yomana, shinana. Okay, so we have ka-imas, ka-u. So it's
What?
Right. So kak-i, ik-i, yomi, shini, yobi, oyogi, kiri, ka-i, right?
Yeah.
Then the plain form is kak-u, ik-u, right? The K turns into the K-I, K-U, yomu, shinu, yobu, oyogu.
Yeah.
And then we have kakanai, ikanai, yomanai, shinanai, yobanai, right? The B sound. Oyoganai, kiranai. And then this should be ka. Yeah, ka-a-nai, right?
Yeah.
So when you say that, you're going to say ka-nai. That sounds idiotic, so they just have a wa.
Oh, okay. So it's in replace of those ahs. Okay.
Exactly. So whenever you're going to be like ah-nai, ka-nai, everyone realizes that sounds... I don't know what the real linguistic reason is. I think there was like an old like woo. I think these actually used to be ka-woos and ah-woos and ka-we-mas and stuff like that. Then the W sounds went away. This isn't true. I added emas here to trick you. The plain form is actually iru, and it's actually a group 2 because the ru comes out of nowhere.
Oh, okay.
And so this would be e9. So it's a group 2. So just like we take the stem and add 9.
Okay.
Okay. So let me just add the make it negative rules.
This makes a lot more sense. I probably should have had you explain this to me before my test.
Group 1. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Group 1 becomes anai. So stem. And then stem. Well, it's actually the root. It's actually the root plus anai. So it's going to be the something anai sound. If that makes sense. So remember, the root means that it has the consonant sound. I know that sounds dumb, but yob, anai, ik, anai, yomanai. Those are the roots. Group 2, this would be stem plus nai. So tabe, mas, tabe, ru, tabe, nai. Group 3, shut up and memorize. Memorize. Okay, that's how it is. Konai and shinai.
So there's no verbs that end with the eh sound?
You can make verbs end in the S sound, but it becomes a blunt command. And I was just about to show you that. So,
Okay. Because I thought the note said, and I'm trying to see if I can find it, because I thought the note said, ones were, weird or something.
If the verb ends in an mas sound,
yeah,
you're usually dealing with a group 2, so it'd be an ni.
Oh, okay.
But that's just the rule of thumb. That's not always true.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure if I sat down and thought about it, I could find it.
That's like what the nemas is. It's nenai, right?
Yeah. So this is a rule of thumb. It's not 100%. It's not 100%. But if the
So
verb,
you're like, don't use this, and then one day learn a verb and it be wrong. So.
yeah, there's gonna be like, there's gonna be 5 verbs that break the rule. But usually, if there's one character followed by mas, it's usually going to be a group 2.
Okay.
And if the verb, yeah, sorry, your cough is over. If the verb ends in any sort of blibbity blobbity blue mas sound, like mas, shimemas, tabemas, 9 times out of 10, that's a group 2.
Okay.
So if there's one character followed by mas, I don't know, 8 times out of 10, it's a group 2. And if it ends in an sound followed by mas, I think 9 times out of 10, maybe 99 out of 100, it's a group 2. But I'm sure there's an example that I could cite that isn't accurate. I just don't have it memorized.
Oh, you're fine.
Really quickly, talking about the godon verbs. Remember how we talked about this? So, really quickly, you don't need to know this, but just so you understand a little bit better of why it's called a godon verb, I'll use 4 verbs. We'll use nanishioka. We'll use, how about ikimasu? Okay. The plain form of ikimasu is iku. So if you notice, it's ik-i. Then we have ik-u. There is another, the negative is ika-nai in the plain form. See how that ah is there?
Yeah.
You could also make the verb ikeru, which, if you notice, there's a ru there. That's because any verb that ends in the ru sound, again, 99 out of 100 times, it's a group 2.
So what is what form is that, though?
Yeah. We'll talk about what these verbs mean right now. Okay, so you don't need to memorize these. And this could also be a mas, and this could be a different pattern. So ikanai is negative. Whoops. Negative. That is don't go. So don't go. Ikimas is the stem / polite. So go, polite. Iku is dictionary, plain, casual. So your friends or somebody below you. So go. That's the actual. People will tell you that this is the actual verb. This is the actual verb, they'll say. Whereas this is a form of the verb, which is accurate. It's not wrong. Ikeru, this is potential. It's a fancy language word. I think I actually have a fancy language verb series, and it talks about potential. Can go.
Is it called fancy?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, go to my channel and look up fancy language words.
Okay.
I'll type that out real quick just in case. Fancy language words. Because I noticed when I was using this when I was teaching, I was like, this is a potential. People are like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, oh, right. This is a conditional. What? This is an adnominal. What the hell are you talking about? I was like, right, okay, so here's what it means. It's a fancy word that means blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh. Eco means, this is called the volitional, I think. Volitional. It has a few different meanings. In general, it means let's go, but it has a few other meanings. Another verb. Let's do awanai, imas, u, eru, and then I think it's like straight up ao. It always takes me a second to think, is that right? So awanai, don't meet. Oops. Don't meet. It could also be don't match. There's a few verbs that use this. I must meet, polite. Meet. Can meet, and then let's meet. Something like that. Kakimasu. Oh, sorry, kakanai. Oops, and I made that weird. Kakimasu, kaku, kakeru. Notice how the ke sound turned into the ke-u. And then we have kako, right? So that's just okay. Don't write. No. Polite, right? Polite. Or just regular right. What do you think this might mean? Can write. Let's write. There's a few other words. Again, this is okay. Kako is just the general translation.
That's what it means when you say go down. Okay. That's what she means when she says go down too.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, she says that, and I may have just missed her saying it, or it's in the textbook, but I was always like, I don't really understand what that is.
Yeah, right. Yomanai, yomimas, yomu, yomeru, yomo. And again, I wanted to emphasize this is what the stem is. This is oh sorry, this is the root. This is the root. This is the root. So I'm gonna put a little color on the roots here because the roots are important. So roots are gonna be. We'll make it. I don't know. That's horrible color. We'll just do yellow here. So notice how the root here would be aw, because the W is there. I'm 90% sure that there used to be a we mas, a woo, a we, and a wo in Japanese, and they slowly went away.
Oh, okay.
Oops, sorry. That's actually what I just did was wrong. So the roots are up to the final consonant. The consonant before it changes. Yommanai, kakanai, kakimas, right? So you can see, except for in imas and ao and airu and ao and awanai, you can see that consonant. There's always that consonant sound. So last but not least, don't read, because we're against reading. Read polite. Read just in general, and then this one is can read. Yomo is let's read. All right, I'll try to upload this one without any editing, and I'll try to get it up tomorrow. I'll send you a link, and then you can give it to all your friends and let them mull over it.
Yeah, like when we talk in Discord, if anyone's like, I don't understand this, I can just put it in the resources on Discord and be like, hey.
And I'll send you this sheet just as a Word document instead of putting it behind a Patreon, because again, it's in your textbook and it'll help anybody out there.
It definitely makes. I mean, like. You definitely made it make good sense now.
Yeah, I've had to teach this like 70 million times.
And I know that the textbook, you know, like you can read it, but it's really hard to understand it from the textbook. And like I said, I wasn't in class Monday, so I have no idea how she explained it in class. Yeah. But I was like, I'm missing a key part here.
Yeah. And I'm sure she explained it, but again, it's just you need to sit down and you need to just hit it over and over and over again. Yep. Really quickly, just for me, I'm going to look up what this last one is. Irashaimasu gozaimasu, oshaimasu nasaimasu. Oh, shoot. This other textbook, did I just change the format of something? I hope not. Sorry, this is taking forever to load up. I don't know why it's so bad. Oh, come on. Oh, is it? Okay, here we go.
Everyone keeps getting a flash of your family.
Oh yeah, now they're gonna hunt me down. Special polite verbs 90. Sorry, this is the index. I want to get the appendices. Usually there's an appendices here. This is my high school textbook. This is what they use at Ohio State University, and you'll notice that it is in fact all Romaji.
Was it pretty intense?
You had to memorize at least one conversation and one quote unquote drill. You know what we're doing in our classes?
Yeah.
Imagine you had to memorize that every night and then come to school and blurt it out at the drop of a hat, having it just memorized.
Wait, I mean, she's pretty similar too. I guess she's like an award-winning teacher with the Japanese Foundation and all that.
What's her name? Or maybe don't tell me. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Sorry, don't tell me your name. Never mind. Don't say that out loud. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Special polite osharu. They use osharu. Okay. Shoot. Gozaru. Shoot. Are they not going to give me it here? It said 9A. I'll have to look up 9A. Oh, well. What's that last one?
I can't tell you because I don't even really understand.
The worst part is that I'm basically admitting that I have a PDF copy of this textbook, which is very much, I'm sure, not legal. So apologies to everyone who.
Wait, so you guys' textbook use Romaji or just in the back?
I'll show here. Okay, here is straight up my textbook. So it was. So lesson 9, they're teaching us the plain form. So this is one conversation, okay? So iyo, iiwayo. That's for good. Iiwayo. Honto. Honto da yo. So
wow,
since
this
these
is so
ones
different than Yokoso.
Yeah, it is. And I used Yokuso in high school, so I know Yokuso pretty well. So basically, because these ones are so short, we'd memorize like the first 4, and then they'd be like, okay, tomorrow memorize these, come to class, and then Tuesday nights or Monday nights or Monday they give you that, then Tuesday they're gonna give you the next 2, and then You memorize all that, and you need to memorize all the vocabulary and learn all the grammar on your own. The first year or so, they have somebody walk through the grammar so you know what the heck they're talking about.
Okay.
But then you basically have to memorize it, and then
Yes,
Kudasaru, that's it.
She has it where we basically like have to watch the videos and stuff before, and then come to class and we just practice speaking in class. That's
Gotcha.
what. So does OSU, is that like their own textbook? Like, did they create their own textbook?
The authors of the textbook, there's a linguist from Harvard who was Eleanor Hars Jordan. She worked with an Ohio State Japanese. I'm sure she was also a linguist. I wish I knew this off the top of my head. Marty Noda. And they worked together to create this for the military, I believe. And I thought it was an earlier textbook, but then somebody pointed out that it was actually much later. It was either in the 80s or the 90s. And honestly, everyone hates the textbook. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It was very mathematical in its breakdown, and like they didn't waste a single example to make their points. It was very, as much as I liked it a lot. Everyone else hates it, so it must just be me.
See, we don't use the textbook a lot. She just kind of follows the organization of it so that we can read about it if we need to.
I'm sure she's a great teacher. I'm sure she's a wonderful person. My only complaint here is throwing a test at somebody 2 days after you drop this on them. Honestly, I mean,
like I said, it was a quiz. It was only like 10 points.
Yeah, right. But then your test next week is going to be this plus past tense and TEF forms, and you're going to be like, kill me now.
It might actually be after Thanksgiving. That way we have the break to study.
Okay.
I haven't looked that far ahead. I'm just used to like 1 or 2 tests a week.
I gotcha. My wife's going to be wondering where the hell I am. All right. Have yourself a good night. I'll try to load this up as fast as I can, and I'll try to send it to you. We'll check tomorrow morning, and it should be up.
Okay.
Bye.
So
yeah, bye-bye.